Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing today on this wonderful Sunday evening? Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody has had a wonderful weekend. Hope you got to do some positive things. Always remember, stay positive, be positive, do positive, get positive results. Also, somebody might be going through a few things in their life that positive feedback may help them get through. So always remember, when you stay positive and you be positive, you give off positive vibes. And if somebody's around you that is going through a lot in their life and positive vibes is what they need to help get them through, then guess what? Those positive vibes will bleed off of you onto them. And hey, it may brighten their day, and they may tell you, hey man, I really needed that. So always remember, man, stay positive, be positive, do positive, get positive results. And those type of vibes will bleed off on people and can really help them out in a situation that they're going through in their life. All right, so today's topic is going to be transmission coolers, internal and external. There's a lot of discussion about this on the FEOA site, so I figured I would go ahead and do a video and show you what the difference is and what the benefits is of one trans cooler versus the not so benefits of the other trans cooler. So wanted to show you guys, do this video for you guys so you have a better understanding of why we go to external trans coolers on automatic transmissions. There's been a lot of back and forth about, well, I already got a trans cooler, I don't need an external, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm getting ready to show you why an external trans cooler is better. Here we go. Okay, so this is a radiator, of course, from I want to say third generation automatic Escort LX. Okay, this is a aftermarket. I'm not sure if this is a Hayden or what type of trans cooler this is, but I actually found this in the junkyard a few years ago, and I actually found it was two of them banded together, so I just took them apart so I could do this video. I just needed one to show, but yeah, this is called a bar and plate trans cooler. So they got two different types of aftermarket trans coolers. They have bar and plate, which is this one right here, and then they have tube and fin. So tube and fin, actually, that's the trans cooler that you're able to see. Like the tubes will look like an S, throughout the whole entire trans cooler with those same type fittings like that. But you'll have a tube that'll run through it and it'll look like an S, and it's just surrounded by cooling fins. This bar and plate here, of course, you see, it's very, very tight. You can't really see through it, and the reason for that is the reason you can't see through this. Well, actually, yeah, you can a little bit. I apologize. Yeah, you can see through this, but this bar and plate has got a lot more. It's got a lot more going on than the simple tube and fin. This actually traps the transmission cooler. Transmission cooler. This actually traps the transmission fluid faster. Listen at me, man. I'm all messed up today. All right, let's regroup here. This transmission cooler traps the transmission fluid longer, so it has more time to cool it off, by air. Of course, this is air. This is air. This is cooled off by air, whether it be a fan or just air hitting the front of the vehicle. So yeah. So transmission fluid gets trapped in this particular transmission cooler a lot longer than it does the tube and fin. Therefore it has more time to cool the transmission fluid down before it goes back to the transmission. Now, my wife is running a tube and fin on hers. Been running a tube and fin on hers for 5 years. It's a 10 by 12 tube and fin, but it's mounted right in the front end. So be honest with you, man, the tube and fin has been doing us really well. It keeps the transmission very, very cool. But I'm sure if I install one of these, that would be a whole lot more efficient and would cool it even better. But that's for a later time when we want to do a switch. But we pretty much use what we had when I put the car together. So that 10 by 12 tube and fin is what I had. It was brand new in the box. A buddy of mine gave it to me. He didn't need it, so I used it on her car. So between the bar and plate aftermarket trans cooler and the tube and fin, the bar and plate is more efficient than the tube and fin is. But the tube and fin will still work good depending on where it's mounted at. So mounting is very, very important. Well, that's with any transcooler. But of course, with that tube and fin, is because the fluid goes through the tube so quick. Those fins, you only have a certain amount of time to cool that transmission fluid off when the air hits it. So because like I said, because it goes through that tube so quick, goes through the tube so fast, and it comes out the other side. You want to slow the transmission fluid down so it has time to cool it off before it goes back in the transmission. But like I said, the tube and fin does great as long as it's in a good spot in the front bumper, front end of the car somewhere where it can catch lots of air, and that way it'll definitely be effective. Because like I said, my wife's tube and fin works great on her car. But the bar and plate is a whole lot better than the tube and fin. But so real quick, all right. So that's the aftermarket transcooler, right? Okay, let's come over here to the factory transcooler. Factory transcooler is trapped inside of this side tank. This side tank has that radiator has radiator, how you say it, has coolant in it. I can't talk today, man. This heat has got me. I've been all over the place today. I'm busting my butt. So, hey, don't hold the bloopers against me. The bloopers is what makes the video interesting, right? All right, so your factory transcooler is inside this side tank, and coolant sits in here surrounding this transcooler. So the transcooler is submerged in coolant. So that coolant gets anywhere from 190 to about 240, 250 degrees, just depending on what type of thermostat you're running. Because a lot of people, they have the factory thermostat is set for like maybe 190, 200, 220. It just depends. It really depends. I've seen them as high as, cars get up to 250 degrees before they start cooling down. So, so just keep in mind that this transcooler is submerged in very, very hot coolant. So you're depending on, it's like a tube in here. It's a tube inside of this side tank, right? So you're dependent on that tube that's inside the side tank to keep your transmission fluid cool, even though it's submerged in 200 plus degree coolant. So it can't dissipate heat at all. So it basically traps it. So guess what? Now your trans fluid is the same exact temperature as the coolant inside of the side tank, because the transcooler can't dissipate the heat away before it goes out the other side and goes back into the transmission. So therefore, that makes this transmission cooler very insufficient. Very insufficient. When you have hot fluid going back in the transmission, that can ruin your clutches. It can ruin your valve body. It can ruin seals. It can ruin a lot of stuff. An automatic transmission does not like heat at all. That is the number one killer to an automatic, is heat. The more you keep the heat away, the better the transmission will perform, the longer it will last. If you overheat it, you're going to have problems. You're going to have slipping clutches. You're going to have damaged seals in the valve body. You can damage the rear. You can damage a torque converter seal. Heat will destroy a lot of stuff inside of a transmission. So what I'm going to do for you guys, I'm actually going to take this side tank off so I can show you exactly what this transcooler looks like on the inside. And I'll show you why we go to that style rather than this style. Now, a lot of guys are like, oh man, my car already has a transmission cooler on it. It's already equipped with a transmission cooler and blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's fine. I understand that it already has a transcooler on there. But now I'm going to show you why these transcoolers are not that efficient. Some of your vehicles come with a transcooler like this. As a matter of fact, my F-150 is a 2007, and it has a bar and plate front mounted aluminum external transcooler. From 2004 to 2008, they came with external transmission coolers. They did not come with transcooler there. They didn't come with that style transcooler. Well, it still ties into the side tank of the radiator, but it has its own external transmission cooler after it enters here. It enters this radiator, leaves the radiator, then goes through the external trans cooler before it goes back to the transmission. So it's cooled off quite a bit before it goes back in the trans. So alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and start disassembling this for y'all so y'all can see what I'm talking about on this right here. Now y'all have a better understanding. So I'm gonna put the camera over here. Alright. So you guys can see what I'm doing. That way you can see what I got going on. Alright, so I'm gonna roll this forward so y'all can see. Gotta get this camera right so y'all can see what I got going on here. Alright, think that'll work. Okay. Grab these gloves. And alright. Okay. Alright, so the way you do this, well, let me show you guys that real quick before I start. So the way you do this is, see, he's got these tabs here, right? You got all these tabs. So all you do is basically bend these tabs up. You gotta bend all these tabs up around that side and on the other side too. You just bend those tabs up. When you bend those tabs up, this side tank comes right off and it'll actually expose the trans cooler. So I'm gonna show you guys that. Alright. And they say, what is a YouTube video without bloopers, right? You got a YouTube video with no bloopers. Can't nobody be perfect. Ain't nobody perfect in this world, right? Alright, hold on, let me get this camera right. Speaking of getting right, so y'all can see what I got going on here. Alright. Alright. Okay, that should do it. Alright, let's take this apart. Got this transmission. See, there we go again, bloopers. I got this radiator from the junkyard, man, and it was already damaged, which I'm kind of glad it was, because I really didn't want to do this to a transmission that was in good shape. I mean, see, I keep saying transmission. I got transmission on my mind. I really didn't want to get a good radiator and destroy it. Because I knew I was going to be doing this right here. There was a diesel truck, wide open. Alright. Okay, that's that side. This side. How come you can't get good? Alright, almost there, y'all. Got a few more tabs left. Alright, looks like we're getting close. One tab there. Alright. There we are. And there we are. Let's take him down now. Actually, I'll just leave him up there so I can show y'all. Okay. Get this camera back right. Alright, y'all. There's your transmission cooler and the side tank on the radiator. That's what it looks like. And like, again, mind you, this whole entire side tank is filled with coolant all the way to the top, flush. This is your transmission cooler. Your fluid, your transmission fluid runs through this tube right here. Okay, it runs through this tube. So its job is to cool the transmission fluid down. But again, if you are submerged in 200 plus degree coolant, that's impossible. That's 100% impossible. But with this one right here, it's mounted on the front of the car, and the only thing that goes in here is transmission fluid, and air is hitting it all the time. So guess what? When transmission fluid goes in, this coolant, this trans cooler traps the transmission fluid for traps the transmission fluid for a certain amount of time before it comes out and changes temperature. So this style is 100% better than this style all day long. Yeah, and like if you want to take this all the way out here, you just take these nuts loose, and you'll have it all the way out. But as a matter of fact, I'll do that. I'll go ahead and take the nuts off of it so y'all can see it better. I'll just take the nuts off of it real quick so y'all can see it a whole lot better. You can use a wrench to take these off, but I don't have a wrench here big enough for these nuts. So therefore, I'm just going to take them loose with the pliers. And that seems to work good. Now, straighten the camera back up, y'all. Okay, so there you have the internal trans cooler. This is all it is. It's like I said, just a little tube, and your fluid goes inside that tube, in and out. And there's just not enough surface area there. Even if this was not submerged and it was in the air, it's just not enough surface area there to trap the fluid long enough to cool it down, to keep it cool. Transmission, you don't want it to, a transmission temperature, you don't want it higher than 180. 180 is about the limit you want it to get. 180 is about the highest you want to see. Hold on, I'm trying to bring this stand my camera. 180 is about the highest you want to see your transmission temperature. Anything over 180, shut it down and let it cool off. A lot of the aftermarket transmission cooler kits that you see that have a fan attached to them actually has a 180 degree thermostat built in it. So when it hits 180 degrees, the fan turns on and cools it back off. So yeah, man. So I basically just want to get on here and show you guys what the difference is between an internal transmission cooler and an external transmission cooler and the efficiency of the two. As you can see, there's no way that can be efficient whatsoever. As you can see here, this is like 100% more efficient than that will ever be. So just think, from now on, you guys that are saying, hey, I already got a transmission cooler, you might want to take in consideration that this is what you have. So actually you have a transmission heater. That's a transmission cooler.